morning, everybody. I'm here today to talk about resawing on my old bandsaw and what we need to do to modify this bandsaw to make it better. This machine is about 100 years old. It was made by the American Sawmill Machinery Company in Hackettstown, New Jersey. It's been modernized in several ways over the years, and I got it from a dear friend, but I need to change and tweak it a little bit more to make it better for resawing. So for us as musical instrument builders, being able to take expensive billets of wood and accurately slice them is how we make our money. If you can get 6 slices out of a board instead of 4, that's a big profit. And we don't want to be throwing away slices. These old machines, they were designed more for their capacity this way than their capacity this way. I don't think the old timers who use these use them for the cutting veneers almost like we're doing with the resawing. And this one has been modernized over time, but there's a couple things to tweak. First of all, this fence. It comes from a Delta Unisaw table saw. I hate this fence design. These round tubes make it really difficult to lock up the fence square to what you need. It's very frustrating. So I'm going to replace that with a modern fence, and also with a resaw attachment on it. Also, the table needs to be flat, but the 2 halves of the table are out of alignment, and I think it's because when they tapped for this fence, they forced these 2 out of alignment. So I'm hoping when I take all this off, I can kind of clamp this back into place, drill for an indexing pin, get a tapered pin in there, and put this back in place. Also, it's got modern-ish Carter guides on it, which is fine. Not my favorite, but it works. But the bottom guide down here is way too far away from the bottom of the table. So it ends up when I'm resawing tall material that the blade has got like a huge section that's unsupported. It's making for a wavy cut at the bottom of the cut. So I know that if I adjust, I need to modify and adjust the post this is on so that this guide can go higher up in the air. So that's on the docket for today. New fence, maybe alignment pin, modify the guides. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, so I got the fence rails and the fence off, and you can see that someone added this steel plate to the front to bolt the fence on before. And this miter slot here is not original. It's definitely been milled in later. So while it was off, I just real quick drilled a hole and put a brass pin in there. It's not even a tapered one. I'm planning on later to taper that and put a real tapered pin in, or maybe tapping it and putting a big wider bolt into there. But I did that, and now this is flush here, which is what I wanted just by driving that driving this brass pin in. So I'm happy with that. My little bit of hillbilly engineering has worked already, and I got the fence. So maybe I'll do that next. Get that trued up, and then we'll worry about the guards underneath, or guides, I guess. And here I'll show this better. So you can see that this is on a bracket that could pivot up and down, but this extra length of shaft here is running up against the main casting. So I guess my idea would be to cut off what I don't need so that this can rise up and get this quite a bit farther up here. I have to just double check that if I cut off back to here, that I've still got enough movement to move this back and forth when I go to my thicker blade. That's all I need to sort out. So, okay, more soon. Okay, next step. I have the Craig bandsaw fence, at least preliminarily installed. It's made of all aluminum, but it's not very flexible. It's strong. I'm used to stuff that's cast iron, but the main issue is this. The front part of this old table isn't square to the top. And the places where this table was tapped for bolts is makes it so the fence would ride way too high up in the air. So right now it's temporarily put this way. I don't know if I'll keep it or not, where the bolts and washers, I had to alter this fence to put the bolts and washers in the way that would fit. So you can see I had to kind of cut out the top to get this part low enough to hold the fence on. So not a big modification, but it took a little bit of work. I'm not a metal worker, so it's all a little frustrating for me. But one thing I like is this moves easily, it locks easily. I've got it square I like it so far. I'm used to a little more length, but I can add auxiliary fences to the front of this. It's just nice that I can loosen it, move it quick, lock it, and it doesn't flex. And it's got a little measuring scale. So for now, this is a win, even though it's not original equipment, of course. And we'll go on to adjusting the guides. Okay, so let's do a test piece. This is a scrap of oak from a pallet or something, but it's about the size that I would do if I were resawing ukulele sides, and it's straight enough to fit through here. So we're going to resaw this straight down the middle and see what kind of results we get with this fence. So the way for me to really judge is, you know, when we look here on the top, which is close to the top guides, you see that looks really even. On the bottom edge, away from the guides, the thicknesses are a little less precise. I'm hoping moving the bottom guides will fix that. But, you know, to open up straight off the saw, this saw is always cut pretty good. This is with a 3/8 inch blade. It's not even my resaw blade. So actually that looks like nice wood. I might use that oak for a ukulele. It's pretty cool. Got some nail holes in it. So let me adjust those bottom guides and we'll see if it improves it. Okay, so here's the bottom guide. It was bolted to the casting at this angle, but I want to get this way closer. So this rotates, so I think it should be more about like this. But to do that, we have to cut off this back end here, which will get in the way of the casting right now. And I think if I do that, I've still got enough room here and enough room inside here so that if I go back to my 3/4 inch blade, I'll have plenty of room. And the good news is this is just a standard stock piece of rod for the shaft, so if I mess this up, I can just get a new one. And this isn't old original equipment. These are Carter guides, probably from the 90s, I'm guessing. Not my favorite, but they're working okay for now. I just got to get them up and closer. So now wish me luck as I try to cut this. Okay, so we're back in the back room here where I do my little metal work. I have this little bandsaw that I have set up with a blade that's good for metal and plastic and such, and this is set at a lower speed. So I think I can cut this bar off the guide pretty easy with this little saw. So let's get it going and see. That was easier than I thought. So let's go see if it fits now. Okay, we are down below the saw now. If you look back here, that's where it's bolted into a threaded part of the casting. That was probably always designed for guides of some sort. Then we've got this bracket coming off up to here. This is where we cut off a shaft, and now it's mounted here. So we probably gained maybe 2 inches closer to up here. Hoping that'll help. And the way that these kind of guides work, I need to adjust them a little bit more, but basically they run between these two bearings and then thrust back against this bearing. Hopefully that'll be a little increase in accuracy. So more soon. Okay, so I've got the fence on, the guides redone on the bottom. I've got this extension to the fence bolted on right now. Not sure I like it. I'm used to a taller fence that's also longer. Don't know if I'll keep that. I've got my magnetic featherboard to help me hold it up against there. I've got my temporary dust collection set up. So we can try to take a slice now, see what it's like. I'm slicing up some myrtle that's got some really weird figure and grain to it in order to make alto ukuleles that are one piece all the way across instead of book matched. That's why I need to have a taller resaw than normal. So I got my ears on, got the little face mask on. It's going to get loud when dust collection kicks in, but hopefully we'll get a good cut. Let's see. So there's the slice on this side. Not perfect, but a lot better, especially on a bit squirrely board like this. So I can get two tops and two backs out of this. So this little board is 2 instruments worth. I already have the sides sliced, and this could be a weird asymmetrical one-piece top or back for somebody. So I don't know if I like this little resaw extension. I might tweak that. But there you go. It's a productive day in the shop.